What's going on, interwebs? Alright guys, it's a new Final Fantasy time quest. This time I can actually do it. I did miss the last one, which was Marlboro's. Wait, did I miss it, or did I talk about it? I don't remember. But this is the new one. It's the Midgard and the so you can start it at Chapter 3. It's got various rewards, just like the other ones. You saw it there on the map. This is where it is on the actual map. Just east of Ravito and southwest of Lestalem. Right there on the map. There's Ravito. And I'm lost. There it is. There's Lestalem. Just follow this road all the way to right there. And it's in this general vicinity. It starts at Chapter 3. Kind of a low chapter, in my opinion. You can also fast travel to this parking spot right next to it. Chapter 3 is a very low, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very low number, because in Chapter 3 you have, like, no levels. But I will say that the base level of the Midgard snakes are, like, at this point in the fucking video I realized, I don't have the music on, because I was playing this game in my spare time. I was listening to Pandora, so I decided to turn the music back on. Then I fucked up, I pressed B. I didn't press A to apply. Oh, man. There we go. And then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna throw on some Final Fantasy music. I threw on Final Fantasy X, and later on in the video, you'll realize that my hindsight was 2020. The first time I encountered a Midgard was a Final Fantasy VII. For you guys who played it, for you guys who didn't play it, or for you guys who just bypassed that mini-boss completely, when you first leave Midgard and you're like at the Chocobo farm and you're trying to go into that cave and there's that wooded section and you see a snake slithering around in there, that's actually one of these. For me, my first encounter with one of these snakes was Final Fantasy VII. So later on in the video, I realized, hindsight being 2020, I should have been playing Final Fantasy battle music. Not that it matters, because when you start up this fight, this music plays. But I throw it on anyway, and then the shit hits the fan, as you'll see later. But I think the base level of these Midgard snakes are 50s, I want to say. I can't see it from here, and I don't remember. I want to say they're like 54 or 58. I will say that I do remember explicitly and clearly that the specially named ones, the ones that start with a H, is like reverse. When you go into the game and you look at the time quest, it's the name directly underneath the Midgard. But when you go and look at it, the ones that start with an H, they are level 78. And I realize this says that you can start this time quest at Chapter 3. You are nowhere near level 78 at Chapter 3. Nowhere near 78. So I highly recommend you get some levels under your belt, some skills. As you see, I've upgraded since the Cactar video I've done. I've unlocked Prompto's Trigger Happy, which is his 3-bar tech skill. I've unlocked Gladio's Impulse, which I also used to farm the Cactar back when it was the time quest. I will say that using those in this fight are kind of invaluable, but only when you have one left, should you consider using Prompto's Trigger Happy. Prompto's Trigger Happy does more damage than Gladio's Impulse on single target damage. Prompto's trigger happy. He pulls out a gun. He fires like 5 or 6 shots into an enemy. My Prompto at his level and the level of his trigger happy, which is not high, does like 4 to 6, maybe even 700 damage per single shot of his guns. He pulls out a gun. He fires about 5 or 6 shots, each one for about 4 to 700 damage. Then he pulls out another gun and fires that off for about 5 or 6 shots. Just easy figuring because I don't exactly know. He carries revolvers, so I'm going to assume it's about 6 shots. Again, those do about 4 to 700 damage. And then he pulls out, I don't know if it's like a Desert Eagle or what. I just don't quote me on it, but he has a gun and then he just aims and fires one single powerful shot, which base damage for me was doing about as much as Gladio's Impulse, around 9,000. So, that being said, that single shot plus all those little shots add up to more damage than Gladio's Impulse. But Trigger Happy is more effective against a single target because you can just work on it repeatedly. Gladio's Impulse is invaluable here per se because it hits all of them if they're close enough, and it does a base 9,000 damage. Easy. Again, my Gladio's like, my characters are around level 80, but I don't think his Impulse is maxed, and I damn sure know Prompto's Trigger Happy isn't maxed. I didn't get a lot of potions or anything for defeating them individually, so it's not like the Cactars. This one is a smidge hard to farm because they don't drop anything, or they just didn't for me. Maybe I was unlucky. With the Cactars, it was easy to farm them because they drop Mega Potions like fucking crazy. So I could just Mega Potion spam if I needed to. But that's not an option here. So I did use a few of my Mega Potions, which kind of sucks, and I didn't get to replenish them just by killing these things. So keep that in mind. You know, have plenty of curatives. They do poison, obviously, because they're fucking snakes. Poison resistance accessory is probably your best, most valuable asset in this fight. But I'm just like average Joe gamer. I haven't completed this. My characters are about mid-level. A little over mid-level. Since the cap is at 120 now. But even at level 80, you can still see that I'm having trouble. But then again, I'm not far into this game. I'm still on chapter 8 for fuck's sake. So I mean, take that into account. And the only reason I'm level 80 is because I farmed the shit out of that Cactar thing. The Cactar time quest. I don't want people to think, oh, if I find Cactars in the wild, I'll get fucking leveled really fast. No. The Cactar time quest. The very first one. Fucking stuttering like a madman. But my best tips for this fight, as I said, Gladio's Impulse, fucking invaluable at chipping away that HP on all of them. Prompto's Trigger Happy works wonders on single target damage. Ignis, he still had his skill where he gives Noctis whatever element they're fighting, the enemy they're fighting is weakest to. I never used it in this fight. I don't think you can summon in these fights. I've never had the chance to summon in these things. It would make it significantly easier, which is probably why you can't. Or I haven't been able to. What else? As I said, it starts at Chapter 3, but I highly recommend you not do it at Chapter 3, because the snakes that start with an H are level 78. They will fucking murk your ass. They will destroy you. See, I got one Mega Phoenix. It's kind of just... It sucks. I like the Cactars because you got to restore your Mega Potions and it was easy just to fucking Mega Potion spam if you needed to. But this one is kind of just a fucking... just a curative dump, really. Do it. The rewards are kind of meh. They're not as good as the Marlboro one. And they're sure shit not as good as the Dread Behemoth, which was the last one before this one, the one I didn't get. I didn't do a video on because I had so much on my fucking plate that I couldn't do it. But I think you got 1 million gil for that one. Over 1 million gil. It was like 1.1 million. But you had to be at like chapter 15 or something. And I was just like, well, there's just no fucking way I can do that. I will say that I don't think you can get this without the season pass, but I am using the I believe it's called the Ragnarok. It's the item pack that they came out with not too long ago that it gives you a few items. One of them is the Ragnarok sword, which increases your warp strike damage. Also, that sword is completely, awesomely invaluable in these fights because, as you can see, I can just spam. Had I this skill in my skill tree where close range warp strikes are always criticals, it would be more effective than what you see here, but I don't have that skill unlocked in my, I'm gonna call it the Sphere Grid. That's not what it is, but it's basically the Sphere Grid from Final Fantasy X. And whatever the thing was in Final Fantasy 12, I don't remember. With Vaughn and Balthier and Balthier. I don't know why I said Balthier, but Balthier and Fran. You know, those guys. I've been playing Final Fantasy for a long ass time. 20,000 XP, 500 AP, 777,000 gil, and some change. It's the Lucky 7's gil amount again. It's 777,777. And then 5 Oracle Extension coins. Again, I don't know what the fuck those are for.
We're alive! Let's celebrate by eating something dead!
But that's it. That's it. That's really all there is to it. There's like 4 or 5 snakes. There's, I think, 5. 3 Midgard and then 2... Or it might be 2 of each. But at least 2 Midgar and 2 of the H1. But there it is. Exactly on the map. Again, Ravato directly to the west. And Lestalem directly to the northeast. This rock is the repeat point. You just go up to that rock and start the time quest over again if you want to. At this point, I was like, why the fuck is he doing that? Then I realized I was poisoned. I was like, why the fuck is he twitching like a goddamn tweaker? And I was like, oh, he's poisoned. No shit. It's also directly south of that outpost. I didn't bother to see what outpost that was. I thought that was Lestalem off in the distance, but it wasn't. But there it is again, the rewards you get for it. The general clue snapshot of where it is on the map. The name of the shit you're fighting, the Midgar and the and then I think this is the point where I realized, yeah, it is. I was like, wait a minute, that's a Final Fantasy VII mini-boss. Why the fuck am I doing 10? So I scroll down to 7, and then I start trying to find the fighting music, which is not bombing mission. And that's like regular run-of-the-mill fighting. This is the boss music. So I was like, oh, I finally got it. And and then I heard this. I was like, ah, shit.
Well, here we are.
I could have edited this out, but I just figured, you know what, why not just keep it in?
Radio. Get back!
But that's it for the time quest. I don't know why I didn't edit this out. I'm gonna cut it off. Don't worry about it. You won't see all of this fight. But that's it for the time quest. As I said, it starts at chapter 3. I highly cannot stress enough, highly recommend you do not start it if you are on chapter 3, because I realized this game was on sale recently, so some people might have bought it because it was on sale. Do not start this quest if you have just started this game and you are in like chapter 4 or 5. You will get fucking murked in an instant. Unless you did one of the other time quests, even though that was back when the game wasn't on sale. But I mean, if you did the Cactars and you're like level 90 and you've got like so many fucking skills unlocked, by all means, give it a shot. But if you just bought this game and you literally just finished Chapter 3 and you're like, oh, it must be easy, I guess I can do that, you know, get my characters overpowered super quick, super early. Do not. Because the snake that's not the Midgard, as I said, the one that starts with an H, it's level 78. It will murk your ass in a heartbeat. So just take that into account. That's it for this video, guys. I will see you in the next one. Until next time, later.